and they knew they were false. They knew that they were basing it on discredited intelligence or documents like the Steele dossier that was politically motivated and that they knew was false.
He is not functioning as the president of the United States. Frankly, if he ever gets indicted, he'll have insanity as a defense, I suppose, from a criminal charge.
Over and over, and claiming to be the champion of democracy, and yet launching what we now know came from President Obama was a covert mission, essentially, to subvert the will of the American people.
The director of national intelligence now saying some pretty magical words. Knowingly approve. Oh, that sounds like criminal intent, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Tulsi Gabbard was on with Laura Ingraham talking about this. Couple clips from her today, as well as this question about Marco Rubio and his prior finding leading the Senate Intelligence Committee, saying that, there's really not much nefariousness out there, that there was Russia collusion, and that, there was no real maliciousness by the FBI in setting up Crossfire, all that stuff. Well, he had fake information too, as we're going to learn about. But here's what Tulsi said. Obama is at the center of this, and he cannot escape it. And the walls are going to continue to close in. And it's going to be fun to say that as soon as he's indicted, no one's above the law.
Playing those clips of these people like Morning Joe seemingly befuddled, saying that by no account is any of this true, I would challenge them to see if they've actually read the documents, every single page of the documents that we've released over the last couple of weeks. If not, go to odni.gov, G-O-V. It's all right there for anyone to see. And those who go in and read this will see how President Obama directed that a National Security Council meeting be called to talk about Russia, that the report that came out of that meeting was filled with tasks that were delivered by James Clapper's assistant to John Brennan and to other elements of the intelligence community. John Brennan was the head of the CIA at the time, all saying per the president's direction, per the president's order. And very specifically, they were tasked to create an intelligence assessment that detailed how Moscow tried to influence the election, not if, but how. And this was the beginning of this manufactured intelligence assessment where they knowingly wrote things in this assessment that were false, and they knew they were false. They knew that they were basing it on discredited intelligence or documents like the Steele dossier that was politically motivated and that they knew was false. And this was how they came up with the Russia hoax that was then weaponized and used to try to delegitimize the president, President Trump, and to try to ultimately enact this years-long coup throughout his entire 4 years of his first administration.
And they did that intentionally. So this question has come up a bunch about Rubio. Well, Rubio wrote a report, and the report said that Rubio agrees with the outcomes of the Mueller report and Crossfire Hurricane and all the conclusions. And so here is the State Department answering the truth about that, which is Rubio got bad intelligence just like everyone else because the intelligence people intentionally hid it and kept it out of the public eye.
In recent weeks, we've seen the release of previously classified documents showing that then President Obama and his intel chiefs weaponized the 2017 Intel Community Assessment to push the lie that Trump colluded with Russia in the 2016 election. In this, ICA, it showed at the behest of Obama's intel chiefs, included weak and misinterpreted intel to push the notion that Russia wanted Trump to win the election. Meanwhile, the ICA did not include evidence showing the opposite. Many media and the Democrats have since clung to the Senate Intel Committee report and then Senator Rubio's work in drafting that report that said the ICA was fine and that they agreed with Obama's intel chiefs that Russia intervened to help Trump. So my question is, does Secretary Rubio agree with the media and other Democrats that there was nothing improper about the creation of the ICA, or do the recent documents that have been released change his views about the assessment?
Well, I put out a statement myself responding to this when it first came up, and I've found that for you. I would say that this in some ways explains, of course, the vehemence and the effort to try to keep President Trump from winning the last election because of the nature now of what investigations are occurring or may occur. This is what the American people voted for. We saw a great deal going on that was improper, and so we look forward, of course, to what these investigations reveal. Regarding Secretary Rubio, as then Senator Rubio, my statement was this, I think maybe over a week ago. If the legacy media were at all curious about the facts of the matter, they would have found from then Senator Rubio's own statement from 2020 concurrence with DNI Gabbard's consequential findings. Then Senator Rubio determined that the use of the Steele dossier was, quote, very troubling, but even more so, he was alarmed by the behavior and the actions of the FBI in pursuit of what has now been confirmed as a dangerous hoax. His statement revealed serious wrongdoing, leading to one of the most infamous political scandals in American history. And of course, I think at that time was appropriate. And as all of us who are here and grateful to be here and blessed to be here, we are also grateful for the American people seeing through that and putting President Trump back in office.
A quick follow-up, if I may.
Right, sure.
So you're saying that Secretary Rubio disagrees with the assessment from Democrats and the media that the drafting of the ICA was on the up and up?
Well, what I can say and what I always caution people in this room to not do is to not draw an extended conclusion about something that I presented. What I presented is what I presented. So I'm not going to expand more on that regarding what the Secretary thinks or
Well, can you ask and find out, please?
might be considering. I won't get ahead of the Secretary in that regard.
Good. Ask him and give us some answers on that, because I want to know what Rubio has to say about that. Otherwise, it's just Rubio said he had concerns about the Steele dossier. What kind of a response is that? So anyways, we know that Avril Haines, Obama's DNI, was also involved in this. This came over from Emily Kopp, explaining that other people are going to be brought into this. Avril Haines, she clipped this as, well, the mainstream media dismissed the conspiracy theory. I think this came from Schellenberger. The idea that President Obama may have had a hand in shaping this. They said, we do not know President Obama's role in this, but we presume that NSA Susan Rice, Lisa Monaco, Avril Haines all played a role in the timeline and the rollout because they were trying to set Trump up. Now, if you're hearing Democrats saying, this is weaponization, how dare they go after Democrats who broke the law? How dare the Republicans get so excited about arresting Democrats or arresting criminals? And this is not America. This is not what our republic, our democracy, as they say, should look like. Remember this from these people?
58 House Democrats have recently voted to advance articles of impeachment.
Impeach him first and then indict him.
Yes, the president, a sitting president, can be indicted.
Even if the president were to somehow find some way to terminate Mueller, the indictments would continue to grind.
You could impeach anybody on anything. You can try and indict. He is not functioning as the president of the United States. Frankly, if he ever gets indicted, he'll have insanity as a defense, I suppose, from a criminal charge. But it's hardly, this is a serious matter.
She's gone totally nuts too, so she's having a real tough time.
You're starting to hear people talk about the possibility that Donald Trump leaves office in 2 years and then finds himself in the crosshairs of these New York prosecutors.
They were, yeah. I mean, they prosecuted him 4 times, 4 criminal charges, and then civil charges, calling him sexual abuser and a business fraudster, and they try to remove him off the ballot. Now they're going to cry because they don't want to get caught. She was over with Miranda Devine, who I got to meet, very pleasant lady. She was having a conversation with Tulsi. Here's what that conversation sounded like.
This is where you use the word dangerous. This is where the weaponization of the intelligence community can have such a dangerous outcome that is really impossible actually to measure. When we look at a sitting president of the United States and President Obama unhappy with the outcome of the election and making the appearance of a peaceful transition of power,
priding himself on it
over and over and claiming to be the champion of democracy, and yet launching what we now know came from President Obama was a covert mission, essentially, to subvert the will of the American people, create this lie that would challenge the legitimacy of President Trump's election and the 4 years of his administration, resulting and affecting in what was truly a years-long coup. This is why it's so important. And I just keep repeating myself over and over again, because you look at the evidence that we released, we have to look at it within the greater context of what happened in the months leading up to that election in November 2016 and what followed in the years after, in order to understand or get a glimpse into the true implications of this.
Why do you think Barack Obama did that? He'd served 8 years. He was going out on a high. What was he so frightened of with Donald Trump that he needed to sabotage him?
I haven't seen any intelligence that reflects his inner thoughts or intentions with this. But again, I think you can take a step back and just recognize at face value, if Hillary Clinton had won that election, this would not have happened.
Yep, they would have gotten away with it, right? As long as they maintained power, Hillary would have come in and just covered it up. Tulsi Gabbard, man, we really appreciate her getting out here and making the case for this and doing a little, public relations to explain these people are criminals. And it's nice to have her, a former Democrat, coming out and advocating against other Democrats who tried to coup the country and then tried to blame Trump and MAGA, call them insurrectionists when this whole operation was conducted by the CIA, FBI via Obama. We're looking forward to the indictments, and we hope you join us when they come.